Soldiers of the Imperial Japanese military in front of the Shwethelyong Temple statue of Buddha in Burma. Soldiers of the Polish 10th Mounted Riflemen Regiment dressed as winged hussars for regiment holiday. Lanket, Poland, April 1934. Soldiers of the Zimbabwe Army on parade at Harare's Rufaro Stadium, 1984. Soldiers returning home from World War II, 1945. Soldiers. Some of the men of the 369th. Some things never changed. Used with the captured Panzerschreck, 1944. Sophia Loren arrives to the Lido Film Festival in Venice, Italy, 26th of August to 7th of September, 1958. Sophia Loren at the Cannes Film Festival, April 26th to May 10th, 1955. Sophia Loren, Yvonne De Carlo and Gina Lollobrigida pose for a photo in the Berlin Film Festival, 18 to 19 June of 1954. South African Army pilots claim the Air Force pilots. South African parabats preparing for a Cuban-planned counterattack during their raid on Kasinga. Angola, May 4, 1978. South Korean Democratization Movement leaders Kim Dae-yoon. South Korean lawmakers in a physical fight over an arbitrary passing of budget bill. December 1985, Seoul. South Korean spy chief Kim Jae-gyu and some of his collaborators reenacting his assassination of President Park Chung-hee, formerly one of his closest friends, as part of an investigation into the SLA. South Korean student activist Lim Suk-young dancing with North Korean students during her illegal visit to DPRK. Pyongyang, 1989. South Korean student protesters arrested during the Gwangju Uprising, May 1980. South Korean artist Nam June-pig's pants fall down while meeting U.S. President Bill Clinton, June 9, 1998. Soviet Artillery Sergeant, 1945. Soviet Border Guard on duty wearing winter uniform, 1960s. Soviet citizens look at the Wall of Sorrow, honoring the hundreds of thousands of people taken alive by Stalinism. In 1988, the Soviet government allowed information regarding the victims of Stalin's Great. Soviet cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev stuck in space during the collapse of the Soviet Union. Soviet peasants listened to the radio for the first time, 1928. Soviet rock fans attend a concert in Moscow on September 28, 1991. 500,000 people jammed an airfield to see the Soviet Union's biggest Western rock concert, touted as a gift to Russian youth. FO. Soviet soldier carrying the head of a statue of dictator, Berlin, 1945. Soviet soldier carrying the head of a statue of dictator, Berlin, 1945. Soviet soldiers and tanks of the Urals Volunteer Tank Corps en route to the front during World War II, circa 1943. Soviet soldiers celebrate returning home alive, 1945. Soviet soldiers in a Toyota Hilux pickup truck. Afghanistan, 1980s. Soviet soldiers on board the liner Joseph Stalin, who survived a mine explosion during the evacuation from the Hanko Peninsula, Finland. The photo was taken from the German ship that took them prison. Soviet soldiers, on their backs, launch a volley of bullets at enemy aircraft in June of 1943. Soviet T-34 passes an abandoned T-26 in Belarus during Operation Bagration, July 1944. Soviet tanks interrupt young couple wedding. Soviet invasion to Czechoslovakia, 1968. Soviet troops advance in what appears to be a factory during the Battle of Stalingrad, Russia, 1942. Space Shuttle Columbia, flanked by two NASA T-38 Talon chase planes, landing at White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico at the end of mission STS-3. March 30, 1982. Spanish archaeologist Manuel Esteve wearing a Corinthian helmet that he found 1938, near Jerez, Spain. Spanish cavalry in Puerto Rico. Spanish-American War, 1898. Spanish Egyptologist Eduardo Torda y Güell, who discovered and opened the intact tomb of Sennacherib standing next to the ancient Egyptian mummies in the Bulac Museum. Filmed in 1885. Spanish soldier from the Blue Division in a trench near Leningrad, 1941. Spring 1894 Samuel Langhorne Clements. State Route 71 pilots in pressurized uniforms, 1980s. SS Fencing Club practice, Germany, 1930s. Stalin in Bailiff Prison, Baku, Azerbaijan, March 1910. Stalin's successor Georgy Malenkov during a visit to London in 1956. State Security Officer Kip. Statue of David by Michelangelo, encased in bricks to prevent damage from bombs, during World War II. Statue of Liberty towering over Paris just before it was disassembled and shipped to New York, 1886. Statue of Liberty under construction in Paris, ca. 1884, Frederick Auguste Bartholdi's U.S. patent. Steeple of Christ Church Cathedral in Christchurch, New Zealand under repair following earthquake damage 1891. Steffi Graf aged 13. Stepan Petrochenko, the leader of the Kronstadt rebellion in sailor's cap on the left, standing among white army officers, Finland, 1921. Stephen and Jane Hawking at home in 1965. Stern view of Admiralty M-class destroyer HMS Opal, ready for launch at the shipyard of William Doxford and Sons Ltd., Sunderland, September 11, 1915. Steve Irwin, age 17, playing for the local rugby league team. 1979, 350 by 240. Stephen Lehrman, attorney for Rodney King, displays a photo of his client during a press conference at his office in Beverly Hills, March 8, 1991. Stevie Wonder visiting a children's school for the blind in London, C. 1970. Seichapan Radik. Stony First Nation member, died Samson female genitalia with his wife Leah and their daughter Frances Louise, 1907. Photo taken by Mary Schaefer. Street Pavers, St. Louis, Missouri, 1906, 1280 by 1048. Street View 1970 Prague, CSSR. Students dance in Tiananmen Square before the arrival of the Chinese military,